Well, hello there, Facebook. How are you doing today? I'm Apostle Robert Summers, and today I want to talk to you about deliverance or freedom from financial rejection. Freedom from financial rejection. Now, before I begin, let me first say that I'm very thankful. I'm very appreciative of those of you that are subscribing to our YouTube channel here. I mean, my wife and I, we're really blessed to have subscribers such as yourself. You've been very, very nice to us in many of your comments or questions, and we certainly enjoy that. And we're doing the best we can to get back to your comments. We're receiving hundreds of them. We're doing the best we can. So, just be patient with us, but we will address your questions because we are here to help. It's my wife's desire and mine to help hurting people get free. That's what we're here for. That's what this channel is all about, and that's what this ministry is all about. And we want to thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for your donations, your gifts of love, whatever it is that you do, your prayers. We certainly covet those prayers. And kind of look at you guys as partners together with us as we're emancipating people. People are very bound in a lot of different things. I mean, just their past, things from the early childhood development years, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But again, it's just a blessing to be able to come to you guys. So sit back. Let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about financial rejection. Before we go into that, and this is probably a topic that I know I've never heard of it before. I was really meditating last night, and the Spirit of God kind of dropped this on me, so I want to release it to you while it's still fresh. And I jotted down some things so I wouldn't forget. But before we go into financial rejection, let's just talk about rejection in general. Rejection in its purest form is basically the disconfirmation of someone or something. Okay, it's where you deny or refute the validity of something or someone. In other words, rejection almost is as if the person or the thing does not exist. Okay, that's what rejection is. Rejection is always present. You're going to be rejected. There's nothing wrong with being rejected. What's alarming in where we enter into where people need deliverance is how they cope with or handle rejection. Remember, Jesus himself, the Bible says that Jesus was despised and rejected of men, okay? But he wasn't bound by a spirit of rejection. He certainly didn't have it to where it affected him and he was dysfunctional through life. So rejection is going to come. And rejection happens typically in our homes, or the ability to handle it, I should say, takes place in our homes early on in life. And let's just give you some examples. Okay, so let's just say between the age at which a baby, okay, is there in a family, could have been you, could have been me, and between the age of 0 and then of course toddler and a young child, from the age of 0 and 12. This is what's called the developmental years in everybody's life. Okay, this is where God has planned for you and me to be in a nuclear family where mom and dad are there, and you're taught, you're trained, you experience things, you learn boundaries, you learn, and you feel and you expect love, some discipline, of course. These are the training years. And let's just say a baby, little baby, maybe a toddler, is learning how to crawl. I have a grandson now, and any day now he's going to be crawling. Well, they begin to crawl on the floor, then they crawl away, and they'll go so far. But in a majority of cases, the baby will stop, kind of rest on one hip, turn around and look, give you that precious baby look. What are they doing? What they're doing is they don't go very far, because now they're turning around to see, are you still there? Are you there? Are you watching them? Do they feel protected? That's going to give them a sense of protection. That's going to give them a sense of security, a sense of being protected, a sense of being loved. That is going to validate that they are important to you. Okay, and we all need that. We all need that validation. We all need that confirmation. When you do that, then you are not rejecting. However, you and I both know that parents may drift and start doing something, not watching. They may not care. They may pass the baby on to somebody else. Mom may not be there. Dad may not be there. Maybe they're, they work too much to where they're not home. See, rejection to somebody in a case like this isn't just by being there. It's by your involvement in this case, that baby's life. And again, it goes from baby, toddler, to young child. Okay? And to a baby, remember, the brain, we understand that the brain, okay, and when we talk about neuroplasticity and how the brain is developed, it takes time. And from 0 to 12, that the brain is really developing. It's always developing, but these are what we call the critical years. And a child doesn't know how to handle rejection. What it needs validation. And to a child, when they don't see you there, or you're not involved there, they can emotionally sense that. And to a child, if they can't see you being there, then to them, you don't exist. Okay? It's a mental thing. You don't exist. Doesn't mean you don't exist. Okay, physically you're there. But to them, you don't exist. And if you're not there and you're watching, then they feel rejection. And to a child, a baby, they don't know how to handle rejection. A child doesn't know how to handle rejection. They haven't been taught and trained by you. First off, they need to feel secure that you're not going to reject them. If you do, and you can reject them by not being there or by being there and not involved, then again, that puts now fear in them. And the biggest concern is not fear, it's rejection itself, but it's actually the fear of being rejected. So now the child is fearful of being rejected, or fearful of not being validated, fearful of not knowing what to do. And it's the family's responsibility, the mom and dad, to teach and train children from 0 to 12 so that when they enter into adolescent years, 13 to roughly 21, thereabout, then these are what's called the independent years, where they're now doing things on their own. They need to do things on their own. They're learning, they're testing things, they're experimenting things, what have you. And then when they become an adult and they go out into the world per se, they now know how to handle the different things that come their way. Okay, so again, we need to make certain that we invest properly in our children. And for you and I, of course, we have hindsight in the area of deliverance and understanding how these things work. However, you may have some problems or need deliverance if you did not have the proper upbringing. Okay, because you can't make something that's dysfunctional into a function. Okay, you can't normalize dysfunction. If mom and dad is not there doing their job, then dysfunction is inevitable. It's inevitable. Now, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. What it does mean is that you're susceptible to being in bondage of some sort, or you're probably already bound. You've been bound for years. You may not even know it, and now we need to get you free so that you can operate in life. Okay? All right. Now, financial rejection, okay, because, again, rejection, specifically between 0 to 12, early childhood development years, that rejection could have been severe, could have been trauma, or it could be continuous. And when that happens, again, dysfunction occurs. Dysfunction is things that are out of what's supposed to happen normally. If let's just say in your family there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos surrounding financial matters. For example, you're a child, young child, and every time that money came up and you heard the word money, your parents got in an argument. Okay, fighting, screaming, throwing things, acting like a baby themselves, whatever. Okay, you saw that. That now is imprinted on you, and now you ascribe, negativity to money. Okay. They're frustrated. Obviously, they're not teaching you about money. They're not teaching you about finances. And what happens to you later on in life is you have what's called financial rejection. I I'm a deliverance minister. I preach the kingdom of God, but I also know a lot about finances. In tying these two things together, I found out that people are dealing with financial rejection. And financial rejection occurs when you haven't been properly trained in handling money or financial responsibilities. Okay, responsibility of money, stewardship of money, managing money, and if your parents were doing what I just mentioned, fighting, screaming, complaining, maybe they were depressed about money, maybe there was like, oh, we got so many money problems, we don't have enough money. You heard all that. Now your relationship to money is negative, not positive. They could not and they did not teach you that which they did not have. Why? Because their parents probably didn't do it either. So they were dealing with financial rejection. Now they've released financial rejection towards you. What is financial rejection? Again, financial rejection is the disconfirmation. It's not given. It's the making one invalid in the area of money. In other words, they may even say that money's not important to cover up their pain. And again, now you're receiving all that. You go into your adolescent years, but now you go into adulthood. You don't know what to do. Okay, so because of their rejection, it's passed on to you. You now go into adulthood, and financial conflict comes. Now, what is financial conflict? Financial conflict is basically when bills come. Okay, that's conflict. You now owe somebody. You have to make payment. You have an obligation financially to pay somebody. It could be a car note, a mortgage, a rent payment, a doctor bill, credit card bill, whatever it may be, insurance bill. You now have to pay that. Okay, so we're going to call that conflict. It could be your taxes. It could be an IRS letter. It could be a bill in the mail. It could be a phone call from a creditor. Perhaps it's some type of emergency that took place. You need emergency food, emergency shelter. Maybe it's your furnace went out, tires blew on the car, your transmission blew, whatever it may be. Now, when financial conflict comes in your life, because you're not equipped and because you experienced the rejection from your parents in not training you, and you have a negative perception of money and finances, now what ends up happening is that rejection, which is avoidance, now you avoid, okay, you avoid those bills. You see where the financial rejection comes in? How many people do you know, if not yourself, where you've received a bill, a phone call, and just avoid it? You owe somebody money, you avoid it. Student loans, you have student loans, I avoid it. I have an IRS, I owe the IRS $10,000. I'm just avoiding it. I don't want to deal with it. Why does the mind say, I'm not going to deal with it? Because again, to the mind, okay, the bound soul, which is the mind, will, and emotions, now you're doing exactly what I was talking about in the early childhood development years. You're turning around, and now to mask the pain of the rejection that occurred in your early childhood development years, you're going to basically say it's not there. Avoidance is the mind's way of saying the problem is not there. The problem does not exist. The conflict does not exist. Some people avoid it. Some people file things away. They throw things out. They get the ticket. They get the bill. They throw it out, because to them, if they don't see it, then it doesn't exist, and that's called financial rejection. You are rejecting. You're saying that is not valid. That bill is not valid. I'm not confirming that. I'm not going to confirm it. Okay? Rejection is basically one saying, financial rejection is basically one saying, it is what it is. In other words, I have these problems. It is what it is. In other words, don't deal with it. Just let it alone. Yep, that's nothing I could do about it. That's not true. That's not true. Who's going to do something about your finances? Okay? This is not to condemn. This is to empower you to take charge, to do what you should be doing with your finances, and that is taking dominion and getting them together. But because you weren't equipped, because you weren't taught and trained, because now you have financial rejection. Okay? And what I find out is a lot of people say things like, even their credit score. That's not important. I don't care about my credit score. I don't even want to know what my credit score is. That is an indication of financial rejection. Or a lot of times what people do is they spiritualize it. Money's not important. Really? Money's not important? Then why do people work? How do you buy food? How do you put gas in the automobile, and so on? Money is important. Okay, now you don't need to focus 100% of your time on money. However, money is important, but that's what ends up happening when you have financial rejection. Do you understand me? I hope you're understanding me. Financial rejection is the avoidance of money conflict, money issues. Again, whether it's a bill, whether it's an IRS calling you and saying, hey, you owe $10,000, $5,000 on your taxes, perhaps it's a doctor bill, perhaps it's student loans, okay? In the adolescent years, because of improper or no training as in the development years, now these teenagers go out, perhaps it was you went out to go to university or to college and you took out, $80,000 in total debt. Now it's time to pay that back, and you're getting these huge bills. What do? Well, you just say, I'm not going to pay it. I've talked to people. This is real stuff. I've talked to people saying, I'm not paying it. I'm not paying it. I can't pay it. I'm not going to pay it. They get something in the mail, they just throw it down. Again, whatever it may be. Tickets. I've seen people with tickets. Get a ticket, just, I'm not going to deal with that. I avoid it. Avoidance is rooted in rejection, people. Avoidance is rooted in rejection. When you experienced rejection, you have the propensity to avoid things. And you can avoid things by just spiritualizing it. Well, money's not important. God doesn't want me thinking about money. God doesn't want me, being concerned about money. I don't need to know about this stuff. I'm not concerned. It's not important to me. I don't need to know what my credit score is. I don't care what my credit score is, and so on. What this does is that type of behavior stemming from your mind creates a barrier to you to actually deal with your ignorance. Okay, now ignorance is not a bad word. Don't get offended. Ignorance just basically means you don't know. Okay, it creates a barrier. Your financial rejection creates a barrier, a wall per se, to where you will not deal with ignorance in the area of financial matters. Okay, you may simply be just your immaturity in financial matters. Okay, I know a lot of people that are immature in financial matters. Okay, and they're totally irresponsible in financial matters. Rejection puts a barrier, a wall, to where you will never even attempt to deal with that. Okay, rejection is to deny the existence or the importance of something or even yourself. Okay, say it again. Rejection is to deny the existence and the importance of something or someone or even yourself. So again, money's not important. I deny the importance. Money is important. Okay, again, just be honest with ourselves. Money is important. Money is important to you. Money's important to me. It's very important. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's so important that you work 40 hours, if not more, per week. It's so important that people will make great sacrifices to get it. It's so important people will start businesses and so on. Money is important. Money's important because that's how, again, we bring resources into our life that we need: food, clothing, shelter, and so on. Okay? But that rejection, financial rejection, will have you say, it doesn't exist. All these problems I have do not exist, or they're not important. Many people that file bankruptcy, and I'm not, trying to condemn people that have filed bankruptcy. I understand bankruptcy. There's times where it's recommended to file bankruptcy, not often, but a lot of times what I found is in people come to me and say, hey, Apostle Summers, can you, I know you're good with finances, and I know you have the anointing of God in your life. Can you talk to me about finances? And they'll say, I'm considering bankruptcy. Okay, what do you think about it? And I'll give them my thoughts and views on it and stuff like that. But by and large, what I'm finding out is that most people go that route because they're just trying to avoid dealing with something, or they just want to get rid of problems rather than dealing with the problems. And as such, they have financial rejection. I hope this is getting to you. I hope you're understanding this. Okay, so. Again, rejection in and of itself is not the problem. Conflict is not the problem. It's the fear of rejection or the fear of conflict that is really the problem. So rejection that's out there, again, you're always going to have that. And in your childhood developmental years, any rejection that came from outside the family should have been overcome by the validation and the confirmation from the nuclear family being mom and dad. Then that becomes stronger than the rejection of the world. Now when you go into adolescent years, teenage years, you're now able to begin to use that security that you received in developmental years and adolescent years. And then of course now you're strengthened, you're confident, and you're ready to, meet the challenges of the world, when you're in your, low 20s, maybe even earlier, okay? But rejection in the financial area basically is to devalue something. I devalue the fact that money is important. Rejection is also the feeling of being ill-equipped to deal with something. Some of you may, in the financial area, feel ill-equipped. There's hope for you. Anything can be taught. You just have to get set free from the rejection of financial matters and say, you know what, I can reverse this curse, okay, of rejection in the area of financial matters. Now, let me give you, before we finish up here, let me give you some signs of financial rejection, okay? Here's one of the signs. One of the signs is you don't have a budget, okay? I talk to people all the time. I'm a professional success coach as well as, teacher and speaker and so on. I ask people, do you have a budget? No, I don't have a budget. Have you ever had a budget? Yeah, I may have tried it. I don't have a budget. Budget's not important. I just, I don't make very much. So I get it. It's money in, money out. Why do I need a budget? It's in, it's out. That's one of the signs of someone that is suffering from financial rejection. A budget is not important. A budget is basically a goal. It helps you in knowing where your money is going. You're basically telling your money by writing down a goal, and I recommend this to everybody. You write down your goal of where you want your money to go. Now, it doesn't always work that way, but a goal is basically you saying this is where, and a budget is basically saying this is where I want my money to go. Sometimes you're over budget, sometimes you're under budget, but it's you telling your money where to go, and it's you managing your money. Okay, it's you involved in the actual process. And again, it's now you putting value that, hey, money is important, so I'm going to get involved in it, and I'm going to take charge over it, and I'm going to control it rather than it controlling me. So that's one of the signs. Another sign is people that don't have insurance. It's not important. I don't have any money for it. It's not important. That's another sign of financial rejection. Now, you may be sitting there saying, well, come on, wait a minute. I can't afford it. That's not, the topic today is not what you can afford or not afford. The topic is what's your mindset towards it. Because if you're suffering from financial rejection, which you may well be, it has to be something that is on your radar screen to deal with. And if you don't know how to deal with it, then you have to ask for help. The problem is rejected people have a hard time asking for help. Why is that? Because they are fearful of being rejected again. See, rejection over time creates a phobia. And it's not the rejection, I keep saying it, it's not the rejection itself that's the problem. It's the fear of being rejected. It's that baby's fear of turning around and mom and dad are not there. And if you're not there, you don't exist. And we don't want to live like that. So we put on these smoke and mirrors, we put on these masks, and now we internalize it and say it's not important. It's our way of hiding from reality per se. So no insurance. Another sign is, being depressed over money. There are people so depressed. You talk about money, I don't want to talk about it. I can't take it. I'm just so depressed. Oh, they start pulling out their hair. They say they need a drink. They start smoking. They start doing this and that. They get nervous habits. They may even be so depressed that they just go out and spend more money. Okay? That's another sign of financial rejection. Okay? Is being depressed over money. Had that feeling of hopelessness, okay? Hopelessness. There's just no hope. It's always going to be like this. I'm never going to have any money. I've tried it. It's not going to work. I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. my gender, my race, my education level, and so on. Listen, my education level is not super high, okay, but yet I was able to go into the marketplace and do some things. It's not about your education level. What it is about is your humility to be educated. See, this is something that I'm trying to get people to understand. They always say, well, do I need to go get an education? No, you don't. Why are you going to get an education? Getting an education basically means that you're going to go to some university or, whatever college, community college, school, high school, whatever it may be. And all you're getting is a piece of paper that says you were educated in something. You may not even know what you were educated in. Just, yeah, I was educated in, this degree. I have this degree, but you really don't know very much, okay? I always tell people, rather than going and getting an education, why don't you just get educated, okay? You don't want to get an education. You want to be educated, and you can do that yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't go to school. You should go to school. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying don't get a degree. You can get a bunch of degrees. That's fine. I'm not saying don't take classes, courses, get training, specialized courses, whatever. You should do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I agree with all that. However, you need to have the mental position that you are responsible for your own education. You can learn anything, okay? As long as you're breathing and you have a brain that's, you're functioning, you can overturn bad thoughts, bad behavior patterns, thought processes, whatever, philosophies. You can overturn that, and you can educate yourself. You can learn how to do anything. People say, well, teach me how to invest. I could teach you how to invest, clearly. Not a problem. But you could probably pick up a book and learn how to invest. You can teach yourself anything. You don't have to go and get a 4-year degree to make money, okay? Or to learn how to handle money. Are you with me? Okay. So again, another sign is people have hopelessness. Another thing is people get outraged and angry when you talk about money. Perhaps it's a husband-wife. Husband brings up the topic of money. Hey, baby, I know you see that we're spending here. She flips out, or vice versa. He flips out. Sweetheart, we need more money for the baby's diapers. He has a conniption. Okay. We need more money for food. He blows a gasket. Okay. If you get angry or frustrated when talking about money or dealing with financial matters, finances at large, if that's you, I'm going to tell you, you probably are dealing with financial rejection, and you need to be set free. That stronghold in your mind, will, and emotions needs to be rooted out. Okay. Another sign is you're complacent, or you're lazy, you're lethargic. Rejected people typically in the area of finances and other things, but we're talking about finances, typically don't care. They're like, I just don't care about it. Like I said earlier, just avoid it. I don't care about it. It's not important. Oh well, car broke. Just leave it out there. I know people that have driven their car and it broke down while they were driving, like maybe the tie rod broke. I know people, I actually know people that drove that, and because they wanted to avoid the problem, they just left the car there. They just left the car. I know one person was driving and left the car in an alley. Okay, an alley is I don't know where you live, they have alleys, but where I used to live in Chicago, they had alleys, homes, and then the alley was back, where the garbage was, your garage, and all that stuff. And it broke down, and they just left it right in the middle of the alley. Walked away. I saw them dead. I was right there. They just walked away, said, "Man." Okay, when that's you, you typically don't care, and therefore you're dealing with financial rejection. Lazy, people that procrastinate in the area of financial matters, money. Again, this is typically an indication that you're dealing with financial rejection. Okay, being double-minded, being unstable in the area of money. I'm going to do this versus that. I don't know what to do here. I do it this way 1 minute. I do it that way. I'm not going to spend. I'm spending. I'm not going to use credit. I'm using credit. I'm not going to buy this. I bought that. I mean, just up, down, wishy-washy, up, down, hot and cold, north, south, east, west, all around the place. they are unstable. Bible says if you're unstable, an unstable man is will not excel. That's what it says. It says that if you're unstable, like Reuben, okay, book of Genesis, if you're unstable, like Reuben, you will not excel in life. Okay, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you don't want to be unstable. You don't want to be double-minded, but that's an indication that you're dealing potentially with financial rejection. Denial, again, we've talked about that a little bit. I deny these problems. I deny this letter. I get the letter in the mail. Yep, just throw it over there. Don't open it. There's people who don't even open the mail. They see it's from a law firm, a collector, a bill. Just don't open it. Okay? I know people that don't even balance their checkbook. I'm like, when's the last time you balanced your checkbook? I don't do that. I just put my ATM in there and ask what the balance is. They don't, no clue. Okay? Why? Typically, it's because there's a root of financial rejection. Then, of course, people are just afraid of money, afraid of finances, afraid of money, afraid of numbers, afraid of the truth. Okay? But they're afraid to handle money because typically they feel ill-equipped, and they are ill-equipped because they did not receive that which they should have received in their developmental years. It's what's called dysfunction, people. It's why we have all these problems, right? Okay. Now, some people overcompensate for financial rejection. Okay, they did not have this training. There was some bad things that happened in the early childhood development years in and around financial matters. So now what they do is they become what I call financial militants, okay, and controllers over money. I've known people like this. They become tightwads. They have money. They make money. They don't necessarily know what to do with it, but they become very, very much tightwads with it. They begin to love money. I've seen people have $30,000, $40,000 in a savings account, but yet have no decent clothes. I didn't know the person. I know of the person. Lived off the streets of Chicago. They pushed a cart, ate out of the garbage can, lived on the street in a cardboard box, but yet had $30-some thousand in a savings account. Okay, that's now people that are overcompensating for the rejection. See, there's two extremes. Okay, one is completely denying it. The other one is this fear of not having, so therefore they put everything over here, but yet their whole life is in disarray because they're basically hermits, or in some cases, bums. Again, rejection, I need to say this to get this to you. Rejection is not the problem. It's the fear of rejection, and therefore we avoid things, okay? Financial rejection will have you stuck in fear, okay? If you're rejecting financial matters, you're stuck in fear, and you won't take risk, you won't invest, you won't start a business, you'll never go to your destiny, you'll never go back to school. Perhaps you have a dream to become a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, start a business, and an entrepreneur. The fear that came from the rejection in your early childhood developmental years surrounding the things of finances and money, that fear will have you so stuck that you will never take the risk and you will never invest in things because you're always going to find yourself ill-equipped. That's the way you're always going to see yourself. So you need to get free, people, okay? Because God wants you to have money. God understands money is important. Jesus had money. The apostles had money, okay? They had businesses. Most of the early disciples or the Lord's apostles were, Peter, James, John. These guys, they came from business communities. They were marketplace ministers, as we call it. They worked in the marketplace. They had money. In one case, one of the disciples came from a very, very affluent and wealthy family. So there's nothing wrong with money. What we need to do is this, two things. One, let's correct the problem now, okay? Get equipped in financial matters, okay? Deal with any demonic bondages, strongholds in the mind, cast those down, cut those off, go through deliverance, and get free from the curse of poverty. Poverty is not a condition of one's wallet. Poverty is a condition of one's mind. Get free from that. Then get equipped in financial matters, the basics first. Then ask. Don't be afraid to learn about some things like investing and so on, buying homes, learning how to buy homes and property with no money down and so on. How to deal with debt, how to deal with collectors, how to not be fearful of owing somebody something. Nothing wrong, nothing worse than being fearful of owing somebody something. If you owe somebody something, then let's come up with a plan to pay that off. But don't be fearful of it. Don't avoid it. It's there. It's real. Now take dominion and take authority. Okay? And then lastly, let's begin to train our children. Between 0 and 12, there are small things you can do to make them feel validated, to feel loved, to feel important, to feel secure. And one of the things that you can do in the area of finances is let them see you as a good steward and a good manager over your money. Okay? Because if they don't see you doing it, then they're going to find out that, or you're going to find out that later on in life they're going to follow the same pattern that you had. So you can break the curse. Okay? Curses can be broken easily. Okay? But you have to do it. You have to break the curse. We can help you, but you have to ask for the help. Okay? Sometimes you have to pay for the help. Okay? May cost you some money. Taking a class, getting some teaching or training, whatever. Maybe you need a counselor. Maybe you need a mentor. Maybe you need a coach. May cost you something. Okay? But it's not going to cost you that much. What you're going to pay for that is going to help you big time in life. Okay? Well, listen, I hope this was a blessing to you. It's always good to come out here on YouTube and give you guys a little, some teachings. Like I said, you guys have been wonderful, in your comments and stuff like that. So listen, keep it up with the questions. Also, if there's something that you really would, and I just received one just now, that somebody wants me to do a YouTube video on, go ahead and send that in to us. Go ahead and send that in on our discussion board or on our comments and just say, hey, can you talk about this topic, whatever. I'd be more than happy to, and we'll put that in our queue, and we'll get to that eventually. So support the channel. I believe somewhere around here there's a support button, or you could just go to our website, Summers Ministries. That's SUMMERS Ministries at .com. SummersMinistries.com, and just click on the donate button and. We don't get paid for doing this. We don't take any money personally. We do use the money to advance the kingdom of God by educating people so that they can excel in life. It's time to excel in life. Amen. So, but we love you. Dixie loves you. She's not here right now, but she loves you. She sends her love. God bless you. Thank you. Please share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and we'll talk to you next time. All right. God bless you. Bye-bye.